we went live as we usually do on Wednesday afternoons, but LinkedIn crashed at that same time. So we thought we'd re-record this and allow those who missed it yesterday to get a recording of it. So Matt and I are somewhat recreating yesterday's event, but you don't mind, do you, Matt? Kind of a
this is one of
what
the
we do,
this is
isn't
one of
it?
the big ones. This is one of the big ones. I reckon we could do this 5 more times. Are we ready to reveal our faces? Can I stop sharing screen, or we keep going? It's being
Yeah, let's
recorded.
we can reveal our faces and begin the conversation that we need to have.
All right.
Or it's good to see you, Matt.
You too, Tim. Now, today's a big topic. We're talking about profitability in production. And certainly when I had a business, this was something that plagued me constantly. And I know a lot of people, it's very tempting to want to put all the dollars up on the screen because you're only as good as your work, but not the case, is it?
No, listen, and it's a reality of what most of us have to deal with in business ownership is actually knowing that we can make profit no matter what. it's a it's a necessary part of every business to make profit. It's how you stay viable. So we can't give it away. And I think as a creative business owner, we're so afraid to not put it all on the screen because it's really where it's the deliverable. It's where the rubber hits the road for us. And we want to always give the client everything that they're asking for. But we compromise way too much, don't we, in the creative field, thinking it's all for art and there's going to be good investments in putting it on the screen, spending every dollar you can out there. But if you can't stay in business because you aren't making a profit, then you have a bigger problem all along.
And you were saying yesterday that maybe our clients don't actually want us to put it all on the screen.Maybe they're far more invested in us actually being there tomorrow rather than burning it all today.
Yeah, even it would be interesting, right, to have a client have you compromise your ability to make a profit or compromise your ability to run a business as they're giving you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the project done. Don't they want you to keep the lights on, keep the rent going, pay your payroll? So it's a necessary part of business, and every person that's making a deal with you knows that part of that business is for you to cover your overhead, cover the production costs, and then of course make some margin in there so you can capture profits and keep on being viable, staying in business and keep it going. So it's definitely a necessity and big part of business, and we want to be able to cover that topic today in an easy way so people know where their money is going. We should also include how this is coming about is that at RevThink we do one-on-one consulting. We sit down with clients and we help them cover what we call the 7 ingredients of running their business. And within those 7 ingredients, one of them is finance. So we're able to sit down with clients, look at their cash flow, look at their cash runway, as well as understand corporate budgets and rates and all those things, bids, all these words that people put in front of us of, how do I actually do and get the job done? And we've simplified many of these tasks into different reporting structures or breakdowns of different projects. I'm going to show some of that today. But specifically what I've seen recently in Q1 2024 is that this long-term accounts receivable in your business, which is, and as a definition, the second payment the client is giving you, that second 50% or that final money. And I call that long-term accounts receivable, meaning the short-term AR is what we use to run and cover production costs. It's the long-term AR that really has no additional expenses attached to it, and we could keep a portion of it as necessary. And when that long-term AR is running out, usually because there are no new projects in the pipeline, we're just using it up for operations. We're kind of using a savings account. And looking at this cliff that many of agency owners are seeing right now, that long-term AR is just taking a dive. I need to get to the bottom of where the money is going so that if people are seeing that, they can react to it. And it's too big of a problem. It's happening too fast. And it's going to really crush studio owners if they don't take care of that. So I wanted to cover these basics today. And maybe over the next 3 weeks, we can get to how to manage cash flow and get past this. But today we're going to cover how to capture the money when it is coming in so that we don't spend it. And we're going to call that term profit today, how to capture that profit, make sure we're guaranteed profits every time.
So lay it down for me. What is profit? Like, how do I wrap my head around this?
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so here's the thing about how we think about profit. We often leave it for the leftovers. of a project or the leftovers of business? It's probably because when you're looking at a profit and loss statement, the very bottom of the profit and loss statement says profit. It's after the calculations of revenue minus expenses, leftovers or profit. So we keep giving it to the leftover category. And the example we use today is these ice cube tray holders. We all kind of know how these things work. And the funny thing about these ice cube trays, the way they're designed is that you can take you run the sink and you're putting the water here in this first cube. And as it fills up, it rolls over to, cube by cube, item by item, starts filling up the tray. And then we get this very last cube down here, right? That's where the leftovers in a way. Sure, I know really, we usually run it like this across it, but I'm just saying the way it's designed is have this ability of overflow. And in a way, this is how our money flows within our business and the decisions we're making when running a project or running our business. And what we do is we fill up the revenue. The revenue is, the water here is the metaphor of revenue. We're filling up our revenue. We're filling up these first cubes first. And many of these cubes that we're first filling in along our tray, this big portion right here, are the project costs. And we use the first money for the project in these first areas to fill it in. And then when that's said and done, we might have some additional operation costs, expenses, overhead or other people, other salary items and staff items. So whatever is left over here, we're kind of using these categories down here. Then there's usually some of them are owed commission to, or there's like a byproduct of the work we're doing. So we fill in this one here. So we're given this last cube. And out of this last cube, we pay ourselves. We say, well, I have to make money too. So I as a business owner, want to fill in this last cube because, for whatever reason, we're saying our money is not as valuable as everyone else's money. So we put ourselves here. And then if there's something left over after that, at the very, very end, we'll call that profit. So we allow all of this stuff to get filled in. We let this whole cube filled in. If there's enough left over, that's the profit part. And that really starts to mess us up because we are not really taking care of some of the most important expenses in the business, which are the overhead. That's what it takes to run the business. But also you as the business owner, if you're not getting paid, why would you show up to work? And if you're not showing up to work, there is no business. There is no job. And if you can't create a margin on your project, create a margin within your company, there's no cash left over. There's no investment return. There's no cushion anywhere in your business. So any small hiccup, you're, diving into debt or using a personal savings account, or you're going way beyond the means of what the project allows, which has to the project, like the company, all has to fit in this entire thing. This is all that's available to us. So we have to use this and use this more wisely. So we're going to do something different.
We're not just going to wait to see what we're lucky enough to have left over. We're going to live for today rather than tomorrow.
That's right. Like, why wait, right? Listen, the best way to deal with the future is to create it. We have to create our future, and we're going to create our future with to finance our future. So we have to put first things first into this ice cube tray if we're going to do it. So instead of filling up this square first, the production square, and allow that to take place and eat up all of our money, we're going to flip this thing around, and we're going to set, it's within a limit, but we're going to fill up this square first. And that's going to be profits and your payment as a business owner. We have to do profit first. It has to be one of the first things we take care of. And you're going to see the way we're going to behave is we're going to make profit an expense. It's going to become a necessity to run the business. And then you're going to work with you can take a past P&L, you can work with your business team if you have one, or you can just build your own budget. But you're going to build a corporate budget of what it takes to run your business on an annual basis. And whatever those expenses are, we're going to fill up those next. So that might be, 20% of the revenue of the business to run the operations. It might be 50%. And when you put profit first and the business owners pay, and you're running a like a post-production house, 50% is very common. If you're running a live action team or doing something like that in your studio, 10%, 20% might be very common. Or if you're running a strategy company, you might find that really you can capture a lot of extra profit soon. Then you can take care of expenses. And then it's the corporate the project expenses can be covered last in the last piece here. So you can do like 70% if you're running an agency with strategy attached to it. So depending on the services you provide, you're going to use a different percentage. But we're going to fill up those portions first, and then whatever's left over, we're going to put here into the production costs.
I've heard you explain this a few times, Tim, and I have to say that's the shortest explanation you've given me. Normally you did it in about 20 minutes, but that was under 10. And so you got to factor in the profit, right?
We're going to factor in the profit. And I like that idea of just factoring. What we really mean is we're going to make a decision, right? What decisions do we make in order to run our business? What are those points in time that we can make those decisions, and where can we capture it? I say the leftovers when I was explaining it, but really what we're saying is that, we often leave investments towards the end, and we're really recognizing that whatever we put on the screen and whatever we spend within a project, those are investments we're making to get new clients, get additional work. So we have to have the right balance and know what this investment strategy is. Covering the costs first, whatever's left over, meaning the bulk of the work, is to be given to the production, given to the execution side of it. And you're working with a production team or a producer, what's kind of nice is that you're creating a really clear target. Hey, you know what? These items are already covered. You can now have all of the responsibility and all of the authority within the rest of these items to spend every dollar and put it on the screen. So now you actually know really clearly how much you have to put on the screen, how much to give to your client, how much to deliver that project, and give it all. Invest all of that into the creative and have the independence and freedom of knowing it's just fine. I'm almost concerned if people do it this way, they know they have to spend it here, but they ask the team, can you hold back? Can you hold back? Just, I need something left over. And you have this hold back strategy of holding back from the creative. If I do it this way, it's really, really clear. You can invest all the rest into the project. Yeah. So it really creates a different sense of freedom and understanding of where the money goes and how to invest it properly to get the right results.
Yep, 100%. So you're just telling your producer, out of $100,000 budget, you get 60 grand. Put that on the screen and make it sing. Don't put it all up there.
Yeah, we want to do this and do this well. So I'm going to show a worksheet that we often use with our clients, where how to understand the ice cube tray understanding, and it's this term what we call bulletproofing. Like, profits are an important part of what we're doing here. This is an easy worksheet. You can build this yourself. Sorry. Or if you wanted to get a hold of us, we'd be happy to share this sheet with you. My email is tim@revthink.com. And those of you watching this on YouTube or LinkedIn or any social media platform right now, you can hit me up right now. If you're watching this in Rev Community, and those of you might not know of Rev Community, it's you can join us. It's a platform for small business owners. I'm sorry, not small businesses, but business owners, owners of studios, production companies, agencies, anything in the creative sector. If you want access to it, you can join us on Rev Community and DM me directly. And you can join us on Rev Community at revthink.com/community. Feel free to join us there, submit, and be part of our community. So that's an easy way to get a hold of a worksheet like this. We have a lot of these tools available to our community members, our clients, and so on. Okay, so let me show you how this sheet works, Matt. As you can see, I actually built this sheet so it kind of looks like those ice cube trays. It has some easy squares to fill in, and we can start filling it out. And right here at the top, I just put in an example of a company that has $1 million in revenue. So we can see that very easily. And then I started plugging in what are these hard costs it takes to run a business. $200,000 to a business owner. We have to pay taxes for that owner. We want to capture some profit. So this is putting that profit first category right here. We can make it a hard cost into production. Whatever the rent is, overhead, staff, and so on. You can see that some of these I'm asking for the dollar amount, and these two I'm asking for a percentage because it's easier to understand percentage. And on my worksheet, I actually have instructions of what goes into each square. That's what's popping up here. Somewhat annoyingly right now, I get it, but I can you get a sense of what each of these items are by looking at these instructions.
Yep.
based on this information, it's this column right here now is giving me a running tally of what it takes operationally to run the business, or we call these the company costs. So the total company costs right here are $497,000. Then I also then go to my creative costs and I plug in what I think it takes in an annual year. So this is an annual budget for my creative staff payroll. I might have payroll up here, by the way. This is operations staff, but over here is the creative staff. So on a regular P&L, this would be combined into a staff category. I'm actually separating that into these two costs, regardless if they're on payroll or not. If they're overhead related, it goes up here in the company costs. If they're creative related, they go in the creative costs. I know what my annual salary budget is. And then I know what I want to spend on freelancers in an annual budget. And now here I have it, 235, 195, I have 430. So now really my total here, yours here is below the $1 million. It actually gives me $73,000 in profit margin. And this margin here is, we can do something different with it. We can actually start capturing this and put it in different categories. So like this 73,000, I might be able to put that right here into a cash reserve and know where that money is going to go. So that's how I just fill it in. Just kind of basically look at the annual budget, where I want the money to go, get a sense of it. And then at the end of the year, be able to see what that margin might be available. And this is leftover margin. These can be put in other investment categories. Keeping in mind, by the way, on this sheet already, I've actually put in a profit item. So right here, I have 3%. For me, 7% is a lot in that margin category. So as a consultant, I'd say, let's not leave too much left for margin. I'd rather have you capture that profit up here and make that 7% here. Nope, 70, not 70. I'll just make it 7 for now. 70% is really good. And here I understanding these are costs. So I'm actually categorizing this item right here really as an expense item, profit as an expense. It allows me to put that first things first mentality and saying, I need to make it there. I must make a profit, just like I must make payroll. Might as well treat it and have it act like it's an expense, as a necessity. And then knowing what this margin is here, available to do something else with, it gives me that cushion I need to look at the end of the year and see if I can make those numbers work. And here's the giveaway right here. So now I have this thing called the splits. And my splits here are 54%, 43%, and 3% profit. And mostly what I want to pay attention to is if in this year this works out, this 43% is what I'm dedicating now as I flip the ice cube trays around to this bottom part, the creative side. I can dedicate 43% of my expenses. And listen, for the most part, I think if I'm being honest with you, 43% is probably not enough to make that creative work. I need to find another way of working through these numbers because I might want a little bit more here. So I'm actually going to change some things around. I want to make this 50%. So I make 25%, half my a creative cost going to staff, half my creative costs coming here to freelancers. So I get a 50%. And now I'm running over budget pretty soon here. So I need to be able to cut back other items to make that difference. So I can't be at 537,000. I need to cut back some money here. Maybe I'd cut out some marketing expenses, make that 40. Maybe I can't make that 7% profit. Maybe I need to make that 4%. Oh, there I go. I'm going to hit it, the margins now. So now I'm back to some healthy margins. I'm looking at the costs that I want to. Oh, I might have written over this for a second. Yeah. Oh, and I'm going to invest more here. Let's see if I go like 250,000. 250,000. That's what I want to do. I got those margins at work, got a 3% cushion in there. And now my splits are right here, 50-50. And I call these the splits. So now you can see how I kind of made a decision. I can look forward at what I want my cost to be. I can work with this worksheet to make it work. And I can hit the splits that I think are healthy for a company, 50-50. I like that look. So that's the first part. I call this bulletproofing profit. It locks in this profit right here. It bulletproofs it as an expense. And I know if I allocate 50% of anything the client gives me, so whatever the project is, a $100,000 project, I can now dedicate 50,000 to these creative costs. give that to my producer to produce the project, I know that my profits are locked in. I'm going to show you one more trick here, Matt.
Okay.
And it's right here, this category here called calculated loss. Here is where the losses that come every once in a while. For example, many of us pitch and we don't win. That's a loss, but a calculated loss. I can start setting up here a corporate budget, an annual of what I want that loss to look like. And in reality, some projects do lose, don't they? Others win and some lose. And so on a give and take basis, I can really say I can capture about $30,000 in losses on projects that are over budget, overspent. And even though that one project might lose, I've actually secured the company so it still makes a profit. And not all projects are right sized. And sometimes we won't even want to gift a project, do something for a nonprofit or a personal project. I have to know what that budget is. So this right here allows me to finance that future, finance those investments, finance those losses as an expense sooner than later. And this must be part of it. If this isn't enough, I want to actually increase this to 70,000. That extra money needs to come somewhere. I'm $40,000 above my profit margin here. Well, where's it going to come from? It's going to come from these categories. That's how it would work anyway. If I'm losing money on one project, I have to take it away from the gains of another. Yeah. So I might as well come over here right now, recognize that it's true, and make this freelancer annual budget be about 210,000 and balance this thing out again. So locking in profit as an expense to beginning is great. Oops. But also capturing these calculated losses are huge. We have to capture the calculated losses. We have to know that's part of running our business, and it becomes an expense also. So that's how I lock in and make profit on every project, because I'm making that profit as an expense to begin with. And even when I lose, I've calculated that loss into the overall operating expense, and I could still stay profitable as a business. Key part of running a business is knowing where that profit's going to come from.
Totally. And watching it as the production goes along.
Yeah, let's talk about one, and I'm going to talk about this the next couple of weeks, but here's where the rubber hits the road. I'm going to show you another project worksheet that we do, RevThink. We have this thing called a production roll-up, and the production roll-up is all the projects you're doing at your company. And we can look at this production roll-up on a project-by-project basis, and there's some key elements on this roll-up that we can see the project rolling and see this exact philosophy playing itself out on a project. So I'm just use this top project here as the example. We're here, the splits that this company has is a 40. I'll make this 50% so you can see the same numbers we had in our previous worksheet. So these are 50-50 on my roll up here. I'm going to make this 50-50 as well. So here's my creative cost at 50%. So what does that mean to me? It means if the project award is 100,000, I need 50,000 to run the company costs, cover those items, including profit. And then I have 50,000 remaining to cover the creative costs. And then once I have this allocation of 50,000, I want to track these items in two features. The first one is actual costs, the costs of the project to date. And then I need the second piece, future estimated costs. I actually want to know what it takes to finish the project as the project's going on. So I might update this daily, or depending on the length of the project, you can do this less frequently, bi-weekly or even weekly for some people. But I want to look at this project and see, hey, what's my estimated profit once this is there? If I didn't have this item, I'm just going to make this 0 for a second. It would look like I'm making $45,000 in profit. I don't have any visibility of what's remaining. But if I do the actual plus the estimated, I'm getting a sense of my overall remaining budget. And now I can know what's left to invest in that project, right? So as the project goes along, and let's say now I have like 25,000 of expenses, and I had 27,000, I can see this loss come sooner than later. And I'd still have time left. I have 27,000 choices left to make a decision and not overspend. So if I get to the $40,000 mark on this project, maybe I can get it down to within budget again and make that around 0 profit before the project finishes. And here's what you and I know. If this actually got to 0, right? If I actually finish this at $50,000,
Yeah.
not five, but 50, and I had zero here, there is no project profit, but I did capture it ahead of time here in the company costs. I captured that 3% earlier, and I
Yeah.
covered any possible losses. So if this happened to be at 51,000 when I'm all said and done, and I had that loss, that's $1,000 towards that overall calculated loss bucket I put into my worksheet here. So
Yep.
now I have 1,000 of that's being spent on that one project and so on. It just now gives me that visibility of that split and this working sheet here, understand what these splits are, and then how the rubber hits the road over here in the production roll up. So we'll cover the production roll up in the next few weeks also, because there's great decisions to be made and ways of looking at it. But just really like how this thing plays out on a week by week basis for you, I think is very important when you're running a business, especially if we're going to start changing this ice cube tray around. We're going to start thinking differently and get rid of this idea of taking the leftovers. We got to start making our future and with using very different decisions. And those reports and the ability to maintain those reports are a big part of what we need to do.
100%. One thing I've learned about ice trays is they don't fill themselves. And I do really like how you talk about every dollar being a decision, because quite often we think that it's just a runaway train once it's started, and it's like, I had an idea of how it's going to go, and then it's going to pan out. We're going to finish this thing, but you need to watch it all the way along.
Yeah. And if you think about it in a proactive way, how great is it to be able to see, the road coming at you, to have some headlights on and some high beams so you can see even further down the road and make decisions sooner so you don't crash. It's not that the hazards aren't there or the issues aren't there to solve, but the sooner I solve them, the better. Too many people wait till the issue has happened and then bring it up to the client, asking for an overage or waiting to the very end to reconcile a project to see if they luckily hit the number or not. I'm working with a client right now that's just been they admit, I've been guessing what that number should be, hoping there's enough left over. And last year, there was nothing left over. They were surprised that they lost money. But I mean, they were guessing, they were shooting in the dark. To get some visibility on that future anticipated costs and be able to make those decisions, knowing that all the costs are allocated properly to run your annual budget, you can actually get a lot of security, a lot of comfort in your finances. And you don't need a whole lot of more, reporting. You don't need big CFOs to give you additional visibility when you run your agency. You can kind of look at it on a project by project basis because you allocated it out properly to begin with.
Just need an ice tray.
Well, Matt, this is our first time ever really going live to YouTube. We're putting it out there. Yesterday, as I said earlier, we kind of got shut down when we did LinkedIn Live, and we wanted to record this out there so people can see the replay and know it's available to them. But we do this every Wednesday, 5:00.
I can't believe that LinkedIn went down right at the point you were trying to go live. It's criminal, so but yes.
I thought I broke it when I hit the live button and it went dead. I was like, did I just break LinkedIn? How did I do that?
Yep. But every week, 5:00, come and join us in the community. That's right.
Yeah. So 5 p.m. Wednesdays is the weekly briefing. It's what we give away every single week. For our clients, we discuss some of these big topics. We share the knowledge that we have working with the clients that we have, as well as some visibility into the finances, sales, marketing items that we know that are all big part of big discussions that are happening, and sometimes big tech items. And you can join us every Wednesday. It's always the same URL, revthink.live/go. So revthink.live/go. You can throw that graphic up there too when we're done so people can see it. But 5 p.m. Eastern time. And we get people from all over the world. We have about 60 countries that we reach with Linky Brief. And Matt, I mean, they can hear from your accent, you're actually in Australia, and we have a lot of people from down under joining us.
We do have an increasing number of APAC community, but here's the slide. Please join us at revthink.live/go. And we're going to be doing a bit of a run on profitability and production, aren't we?
It's necessary. The slow Q1 we've had, we're going to have to really pay attention to the finances for the next few weeks. Looking into Q2, hopefully it turns around, but it's going to be really, really important to start have some visibility on your numbers. So we're going to do the next few weeks here. We're going to talk about this. So we don't have production companies going out of business when we really like having them around.
100%.
We say production companies,
That's
studios, agencies, like any creative entrepreneur can use this
yeah.
information.
Well, I look forward to seeing you next week, and everyone else seeing us live as we. I don't know what the prop's going to be next week. Maybe an egg beater, maybe a spatula. I mean, who knows where we're
Yeah.
going to go?
I'm gonna have to use my RevThink mug. I'll show you how to use that. Yeah, but me either. We'll discover what the prop is, but we could use some props this week. Matt, thanks for being part of this moment with me and helping me with the stuff here on the live stream. It's good to have a second voice in all that we're doing.
My pleasure. You have a good evening, Tim.
Well, take care and you enjoy your day.